Hello and welcome to my channel to plan for. My name is Marguerite, and on this channel I talk about analog planning, journaling, and all the tools that make writing more enjoyable, especially fountain pens and inks. And this series is part of my ink exploration. Hello and welcome to my channel to plan for. My name is Marguerite, and on this channel I talk about analog planning, journaling, and all the tools that make writing more enjoyable, especially fountain pens and inks. This video is part of my ink exploration series, where I take a look at different properties of fountain pen inks with a special focus on writing samples in fountain pens, because that is what I use my inks mainly for. So today I want to first swatch an ink, then get to know its properties a little bit, and then have a look at multiple writing samples with different pens. Okay, so today we got the Colorverse ink Apollon, and this was part of the Colorvent 2025. And as my ink I had in my last ink exploration video, which was Diamond Overcast, this ink is also a very positive surprise. So far I had only swatched this ink, I swatched all my Colorvent inks, and I thought, well, yeah, it looks nice, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with this ink. I mean, I thought it would be too light, too bright for writing. I wouldn't really enjoy using it. So I thought, okay, let's give it a try and see, do I enjoy this ink, or is it something I'm gonna just let go of? And I can already tell you, I will keep this ink. But let's have a look at it. So I'm gonna arrange this stuff here. So let's start with the ink name and brand on the sheet. So as I already mentioned, it is from Colorverse, and it's called Apollon. Maybe Tier Colorvent 2025. So with the Colorvent, they have 24 inks, but only 3 of those you can get apart from the Colorvent. So there is always a vote at the end, and you can say, okay, which ink did you like best? And those 3 ink colors will be released separately. Unfortunately, this was not a winner ink. So unless you get the Colorvent 2025, I don't know if you can still get it somewhere, or maybe somebody sells this bottle because they don't enjoy it. You wouldn't be able to really get this ink. But I still want to share it because I think many people got the Colorvent, and I also like to watch ink videos, even if I can't get the ink. Sometimes that's even a relief because, it's easier to resist the urge of, oh, I need to buy this ink immediately. It's so pretty. Well, if you know it's simply not available, well, I guess that's it. But I'm sure there are other similar inks if you really want to have a nice yellow. I can't show you any similar inks because, well, I never thought about buying a yellow ink, and I don't have anything in my collection remotely similar. But if you have a good suggestion for a dupe, then leave a comment. I'm sure somebody is interested to figure out what they could buy that looks kind of similar. So we have now our 2 swatches. this is wearing gold ink. They call it the color swatch book. And this is Tomoe River paper 68 GSM. And let's see. So this is definitely a shading ink. None of the other qualities. But maybe this would be also a nice ink to mix with the shimmer additive that was also part of the Colorvent. That's a golden shimmer. It would be nice. Maybe I should try this out sometime. Okay, I got a full bottle of this one, 15 ml. So for me personally, I consider everything that is more than 5 milliliter a full bottle. Yeah, because I mean, there are bottle sizes between, I guess, 10 ml and 80, 90 milliliter, but everything for me where I can ink up my pen more than 2 or 3 times is a full bottle for me. So this is definitely a full bottle. And if you have experience using fountain pen inks, if you only use them for writing, it's surprising how far you get with just like this 15 milliliters. So we have now the swatch. Then I drew my grid for the ink, for the water resistance test. And just to be fair, we want to let this dry. This ink takes a while to dry. I don't do like this, like how many seconds till dry test, because it's so different depending on the paper, on the pen you use, that it's kind of hard to get some value of that for me personally. But I can tell you this is an ink that has a above average time for drying. Okay, good. Then let's do some writing samples on this paper. For my writing samples, I'm gonna use my 3 standard pens for my ink exploration series. So I have my Lamy Safari with a broad nib, my TWSBI Eco with a medium nib. Here you can see the ink in here. I always try to ink up as little as possible because I don't want to waste ink. I mean, of course, I have enough ink for a very, very long time, probably more than one lifetime. But still, I'd like to be frugal with my ink usage, well, especially not like wasted. And anyway, and the third pen is my Pilot Kakuno with a fine nib. So we have a broad, medium, and fine, which also is a nice thing for me just to know in which nib size the ink looks best. So we do have now our writing samples. And let's put a few drops of water on here. And let's see what happens to this ink. Yeah, if you wonder, this quote is from Dracula. And yeah, I guess Dracula would have crumbled to dust just by looking at this ink. It's so bright. And I really did not expect to enjoy using such a bright ink. I have this ink also currently inked up in a pen for my regular journaling. This is the Pelican MO5 with a medium nib in the colorway Moonstone. And it's really fun to use this ink in this pen. So let's see what happens here. Okay, so first of all, let's have a closer look at the ink. It's such a very nice shading yellow, and I really like that it's more leaning towards orange sometimes. I don't know if you could consider it more an orange or yellow. It's somewhere in between for me. With the writing sample, yeah, it's better than I expected, but certainly you wouldn't see much of your writing after a water accident. But we can already see here, as I said, it's a shading ink. We can see this on the ink swatch, but we can also see it in the writing samples, and we will have a few more of those just in a minute. So let's just put here, I would give it like, I don't know, 1.5. Well, that's not a very scientific measurement anyway. If I ever go back to see what ink I could use in a scenario where I'm not sure if I might get water on my page, I would certainly look more at the water resistance test. And also just for comparison, here is the swatch on the Wearingeul paper, or in the Wearingeul color swatch book. I actually don't know which kind of paper this is. No, it doesn't say it really. Anyway, so we have our writing samples, and we can already see here, this ink works really surprisingly well in all 3 nib sizes. I am not a fan of fine nibs. I lean definitely more towards medium and broad, but that's not bad in all of them. So then let's have a look at the promised writing samples on different notebooks or on different paper types. I have, for the beginning, my standard set of notebooks for writing samples. I always like to have writing samples on the, for me, most common used paper types. So I have here my Archer and Olive notebook. This notebook has their signature 160 GSM white dot grid paper. And I have up here my Lamy Safari, TWSBI Eco, and down here the Pilot Kakuno. And it's really hard for me to say which one I would prefer. It's very rare that I like an ink with all different nib sizes. but not because it's so consistent. I think for me it looks quite different with each one of them, especially when it comes to shading. I don't know, my Lamy Safari with the broad nib, that's the shading master. With all inks I have tested so far in my ink exploration series, the Lamy Safari with the broad nib has always shows the most shading. But as you see, it's really a very legible ink. That was my initial doubt. And because it's a bit more leaning towards orange, it does not hurt my eyes. I prefer usually darker inks. Yeah, in general, darker. I mean, I like Gothic literature when I was young, which is a while ago now. I was a little goth girl, and just leaning towards dark stuff that stayed with me. So it was a big surprise for me that I can actually enjoy something like that. But maybe I'm just growing up. It only took me a little bit over 40 years. The next notebook is my Rhodia notebook. And we have again the Lamy Safari with the broad nib, TWSBI Eco with the medium nib, and the Pilot Kakuno with the fine nib. What do we see here in comparison? Maybe with the cream paper here, it makes the ink look a little bit more golden as on the white paper. But I do like it on both, so it's nice ink. And then I have one more writing sample on Tomoe River paper. This is my Goodinkpressions notebook with 52 GSM white Tomoe River paper. Again, Lamy Safari broad nib, TWSBI Eco medium nib, and Pilot Kakuno. And with almost all my writing samples, I wrote, usually write a quick comment for myself to remember my thoughts about this ink later on. And I guess I wrote for all the writing samples that I do like this ink with every nib size. So again, very nice. So then I have a few more bonus writing samples for you. So that's my standard ink test set. Or let's say ink, my standard set of notebooks for my ink exploration series. Then I already mentioned I have this ink in a pen for my currently inked lineup, and I also have a few writing samples with the Pelikan M205. Wow. This is my Clairefontaine notebook, and this here is written with the Pelikan I just mentioned with the medium nib. From all the pens I have tried this ink with, I do like the Pelikan the best because it has definitely more shade. Well, I think it has more shading than the TWSBI Eco. But it's not so broad as the Lamy Safari with the broad nib. So that's definitely the one I prefer. And yeah, looks very nice on this paper as well. One more notebook. What do we have here? That's a Leuchtturm notebook. Again with the Pelikan with the medium nib. I just can't get over how beautifully this ink shades. Look at that. It's just For me, it's like sunshine poured on the paper. With all its variations, brighter, darker, so beautiful. And one more writing sample. I have here my Hobonichi notebook, also Tomoe River paper, 52 GSM. And just look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, not my handwriting, but the ink. So that were my writing samples. Let's just put the notebooks away. For me, it's just a big part of my ink exploration to see really how does each ink look and perform on different papers. And I mean, there was certainly no feathering, no bleed through on any of the papers, but I use paper that is, at least to a certain extent, fountain pen friendly. I guess that the one that is the least fountain pen friendly in my lineup is the Archer and Olive notebook, but I always had good experiences with writing with fountain pen inks on this paper. Given I granted, or I don't use anything too broad on this paper. Actually, the Lamy Safari, the broad nib is, I guess, the wettest pen this paper ever has to deal with. But so far, everything good. And then I have been using different fountain pen inks for years on Archer and Olive paper, and it's 95% it's okay. I mean, there were just a couple inks where I had difficulties, but that's for the most part, Archer and Olive paper and fountain pen inks is not an issue. For me, at least. So then let's have a final look at this ink. Here are our swatches. And then we had the writing samples with the three pens I always use. And this was for today, Colorverse Apollon, which I already said it once, but I guess I can say it twice before it gets boring. Yeah, for me, it's liquid sunshine, so very nice, especially in the summer. Happy with this ink, and yes, it will stay in my stack. I will keep it and enjoy it in the future as well. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video and you stop by for my future ink exploration videos, or I make other videos as well. Hope you watch them as well. Thank you so much and have a good day. See ya. Bye.